Hey YouTube, good old Luke here again. Today I'm going to be showing you the basic maintenance points for the Belarus 250 tractor. If you've got one of these tractors or you're looking at one, hopefully this will be helpful to you in showing you what you need to do to maintain this tractor. Okay, we're basically going to work our way around this tractor, starting at the front on the right side. We start with the fuel tank. Very important, you've got to have fuel to make this thing go. Screw that lid off there. Inside you've got a filter catch and a dipstick, and you just want to make sure you always keep fuel in the tractor. You don't want to let it run out. Put that back in there. And looking down here, you've got a fuel tank drain plug. Periodically is very important to drain any sediment that might build up in the bottom of that tank. And this is the fuel pickup tube. This is notorious for picking up little bits of grass and all that settle to the bottom of the tank. You can remove this banjo fitting here, take this bolt out, take a coat hanger or piece of wire, and just make sure there's nothing obstructing that pickup tube. Just a little piece of hay or straw or something getting in there, and suddenly you're going to have low power and surging. So you want to make sure you got a full tank of fuel, no sediment in the tank, and that pickup tube is clear. The next thing we'll check is the belt. You want to inspect the belt for any signs of wear, any damage to the belt. In fact, this belt looks like it's probably ready to be replaced. Also the play in the belt. You don't want it too tight and you don't want it too loose. What you're supposed to have is about 3/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit less, of slack in that belt when you press down on it. And continuing on here, Belarus tractors, particularly these 250s, they're air-cooled engines. It's very important that they get good airflow. Some of the tractors will have a restrictor plate mounted here that's for wintertime use, I suppose, if you live in Siberia. But here in the south we have moderate temperatures, and I want to keep this open. If you've got any grass or straw or debris that's in this fan, this plate's easy to remove. You don't need any tools. You can take it right off by hand, which you need to do if you're replacing the belt, but also just to make sure that this fan is clean. Also, you can easily remove this back cover plate, and you want to make sure that this is clean. Blow this out with compressed air, or use a paintbrush or a piece of wire. The cleaner the better. Also the back side of the fan. Don't want any debris, hay, straw, bird nest or bee's nest to be in there. Now we'll continue down here to the alternator. In particular, you want to check this adjustment screw here. It's got two positions. It's got a winter position, which I believe is all the way to the left, and a summer position, which is all the way to the right. The main thing you want to check here is that it's not somewhere in the middle. You either want it to be all the way to the left or all the way to the right. Moving down to the bottom of the motor, I just want to show you this. Bottom of the oil pan. There's your oil drain plug for when you change your oil. I use Rotella, Shell Rotella diesel oil in the tractor. Takes 7.4 quarts, so buy 2 gallons. That'll leave you just enough to change the oil in your air filter. And continuing on down, you have grease fitting here, just regular number 2 lithium grease. You've got a 14mm bolt. You just want to back that out. Make sure that's full of lithium grease as well. Moving towards the back of the tractor, we have the hydraulic pump. It's got an on and off position. This is in the on position. Right here is the fill check plug. You want to back this out. Just make sure that the fluid is level with the bottom of the plug. and you're looking to use just a universal transmission hydraulic tractor fluid in this pump. Now here at the back of the tractor, we're looking at the main hydraulic fill plug. Right behind it, it's very difficult to see, there is another bolt that has a dipstick mounted to it. Okay, I've removed the hydraulic fluid fill cap and the dipstick. I just want to show you a couple things. This cap is a vent cap. You do want to make sure that sponge in there is clean, and in fact this one looks like it's deteriorating. Probably get that replaced. And it vents through this ridge. All that needs to be cleaned out so that your hydraulics can properly vent. And on the dipstick, you've got 2 marks. You want that to be full of hydraulic fluid to the top mark. Alright, staying here in the back of the tractor, we're now looking at the hydraulic oil in the final drive. We have a check plug here on the side, and again we're just looking for that hydraulic oil to just be at the base of the check plug. And up here we have a fill plug if we need to add more fluid. Okay, continuing around the left side of the tractor, I'm going to show you the next maintenance points. This is the check plug for the transmission fluid. Again, just universal transmission hydraulic fluid will be fine. This is the check plug. You want to make sure that the fluid is level with the bottom of this check plug. When you change the transmission oil, there's the drain plug right there, right below it. And while we're on this side, let's talk about adjusting the free play of the clutch. This is the cover plate to check the clutch assembly. I'm going to use a 12mm wrench, and we're going to go ahead and remove that plate. Okay, clutch adjustment. This is very important that we get this right so we don't burn out our clutch too quickly. What the manual calls for, you can see, follow this clutch rod right up to the top of the tractor. There's the clutch pedal. Right here between the top of the clutch rod and that top stop, the manual calls for 3/8 of an inch. So you can use a 3/8 inch drill bit, and that 3/8 of an inch is going to be the gap at which you first start to feel resistance in the clutch pedal. Alright, looking down below the inspection plate, this is where we're going to make our clutch adjustment. Take out the cotter pin, this pin here, and the yoke, turn it clockwise, tighten the clutch up counterclockwise to give it more slack, and repin it. Okay, continuing on the left side of the tractor, we come to our fuel injection pump. And right there is the check plug. And in the fuel injection pump, you want to use the same type of oil you use in the engine. So as I think I mentioned earlier, I use Shell Rotella diesel oil, and just want to make sure that the level is to the bottom of that check plug. And we move right along. Here we go, very important. Oil dipstick. Let's pull that out. As you can see, it's got a big letter B on it. B is the full mark. This is the main oil fill right there. And right behind it is the centrifugal oil filter. This tractor doesn't use a disposable filter that you can take apart and clean yourself. Not that difficult to do. Just do it when you change the oil. Self-explanatory. Take it apart, put it back together the same way it came apart. Down to the bottom left of the centrifugal oil filter is the first stage fuel filter. This is also a non-disposable fuel filter. It comes apart. There's several discs in there. You can take it apart, take these top 4 bolts off, clean it out really good. But for basic maintenance, all you really need to know and do is that there is a drain plug on the bottom, and periodically when you're checking your tractor out, just go ahead and put your little cloth down below here, remove this plug, let the sediment drain out, put the plug back in. And the same with your second stage filters. These, however, they are disposable filters. There is a paper element filter in each of these, and they are easily available online. And if you've never done it, probably want to get those changed. But again, for periodic maintenance, just take the bottom check plug out, drain that sediment, drain that water out the bottom of the filters, and you should be good to go. Now, if you drain too much fuel out of the tractor, or if you run your tractor out of fuel, as has happened to me before, you need to reprime the system, and I'll show you how to do that right quick. Okay, if you run your tractor out of fuel, or if you've drained all the sediment out of your filters, and you feel like you've let enough fuel out where you might have lost your prime, or if your tractor just won't start and it seems like it's out of fuel, here's what you can do. What you need is a 19mm wrench, and you want to take this fitting loose right here. It's the one closest to you if you're standing on the left side of the tractor, and just going to take and loosen that just a little bit. Right here, this is your primer pump. Screw it counterclockwise until it comes loose. There it is right there. And this will pull in and out just like a little pump. Watching that fitting there, you're going to pump this hand pump until you get a steady flow of fuel out of the fitting. And as you can see, we've got a good prime. There comes our fuel. So we'll go ahead and tighten that right back up. Well, we've just about made it all the way around this tractor, doing our maintenance checks. And the last thing we come to here is the air filter. This is an oil bath air cleaner. It's not what you typically find on vehicles nowadays, but it's just as good a system, arguably better. They do a fantastic job of cleaning the air. They were commonly used on all cars and trucks up till about 1960. And into the 1960s a bit, I believe. And the basic way these things work is they redirect the air at a 180-degree turn. The air is going to be drawn through the top, through this pre-filter, down here into this canister, through the middle, and the air flow is going to go up the side of the canister and through the intake manifold. But what happens to the dust and the dirt particles, when they get down here to the bottom, they can't make that 180-degree turn. They're going to just sink to the bottom. They're going to get caught in the oil, and they're not going to be able to make that 180-degree turn back up. And so, ideally, none of that dust and that dirt's ever going to make it to the intake manifold. But critical to the operation of a filter like this is good, clean oil. What you really want to do with this, you can remove this top pre-filter, just knock the loose dust and dirt out of it. This bottom canister, it comes off, no tools required. And you're going to fill this plastic bowl with oil up to the indentation marks. And as you can see, this one is just a little bit low on oil. If you can see that indentation mark right there on the side, that's your oil level. So it doesn't take a lot of oil. So what you want to do, just clean that out, clean the bowl out, wipe it down, put fresh oil in there, and put it back together, and you should be ready to go. Well, that's it, YouTube. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have any more questions about maintenance on these tractors, leave me a comment in the comment section, and I'll do the best I can to answer it. Thank you for watching.